Good morning, everyone. It's Friday today. I know we're all losing track of days a bit, aren't we? But it is Friday. And we're going to make a box bag, or a box or a bag. A couple of ways you can do it. I had to have my cup of tea this morning. First cup of tea of the day. Now, don't feel sorry for me, because I do get made a cup of tea every morning before David goes out to work. And he made me one this morning and I just didn't wake up. And so now, first cup of tea. Perfect. Well, I'll just turn my iron on in preparation. Good morning, everyone. Oh, goodness gracious me. So, box bag slash box or bag. Up to you. I thought this would be a really fun little project because we can't go out and buy Easter baskets or anything like that. And if you're still wanting to give people eggs or anything that you can still get, this would be cool to put the eggs in. I managed to get the children some of those big packs of eggs like that you can do for an Easter egg hunt. Morning, Karen. Oh yeah, I've gone for a bit of a red lippy this morning. Bit of zhuzh. Hi, Sylv. Yes, I've got them 2 packs of Easter egg hunt eggs, you know, the small eggs. So I thought if I make them a bag like this each, it would just be a nice little extra. So what I'll do, I'm going to make Lily's this morning, because Lily's is going to be out of Harry Potter fabric. So I bought her these fat quarter bundles from Aldi a while ago. A good while ago, actually. And she hasn't, you know, she does like to stitch, but she hasn't used them as yet. So I said to her, would you mind if I made you something out of those? And she said she'd love that. So I'm going to choose 2. I do really like this one. Magical creatures, I quite like those. Quite like those 2. Then you've got more. Thank you, Suzanne. It's the lippy. Well, there were 77 people watching yesterday, so I thought, you know, I better up my game a little. But she does like, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for these 2 that I was originally drawn to. So this has got magical mischief managed on it and broomsticks and things. And then this one's got magical creatures on it. But I thought the reason why I'll do it in fabric that she really likes is because then she can use it for other things after Easter. So do Easter colours by all means. But I thought Lily, she actually tidied her room a couple of days ago and she's got a lot of stuff. So I thought this would be really good for her bedroom. So you need 2 pieces, both 18 by 18 inches, and you need wadding or interfacing. I would recommend a nice thin wadding on one piece and then an interfacing on the other piece. I do not have either of those things, and neither am I going to get any. So I'm using a foam, which is probably going to be a little bit harder, but we'll address that as we go along. So 2 pieces, 18 by 18. They're quite thin, these fabrics, but they're not too bad. So where's my big ruler? You know what I'm like, everything's all over the place. Don't know, so I'll just fold this in half and use my small ruler. I'll poke you down after I've cut these, as per usual. So 2 pieces, 18 by 18, okay? Right, I'll poke you down so I can cut the other one. Morning, Linda. I was turning down then, and I just managed to catch you. Morning, Linda. Right, so 2 pieces, 18 by 18, and that's inches. You may notice I've got a different cutting mat today. It's a bit cleaner than the last one. It's not new, so it's still not as clean as a new one would be. Right, so 2 pieces. Just make sure that's 18. Yes. And Yes. Right, I'm going to press those just because they've been creased from how they've been packaged. It's not vital. I'll just give them a press. Oh, brilliant, Leslie. Fantastic. Yeah, I must confess I've still got my sashing to finish. I'm a bit behind. Right. Just press this. If you can hear that, it's the cable whacking on my fan under the table. So that's 1 and 2. The great thing about this make is that it's quick. So if you've got a craft stall, or you've got many grandchildren, or you've got many children, or you know, an event that's coming up at some point in the future when we can go to events, then these are really great to whip up. Right. So first things first, if you've got wadding and interfacing, excuse me, I would recommend putting that on now. So probably adhering it with a basting spray, the wadding, and then the interfacing, get an iron-on one, and then you can do that on the other one, okay? But because I've got a foam, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead a few steps and I'm going to add the foam in a little while. So because I don't want to catch that foam in the seams, because it's going to be really difficult to turn. So it's right sides together. Right sides together. Like so. And you're going to stitch all the way around the outside, but leaving a good 4 inches on one side for turning, so we can turn it back the right way. You know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch seam, whatever you want to do. I'm probably going to go for about 1/2 inch, just because that gives me that little bit of wiggle room. I'm just pinning the 2 layers together. So if you've got wadding and interfacing, you're pinning all your 4 layers together now. But I'll show you a way of doing it with foam. Good morning, Grandma. Sally's got 21 grandchildren. Blimey, amazing. That is a lot of sewing. Hayley's finished block 8, brilliant. Right, so I'm going to stitch these 1/2 inch, remembering to leave a gap of 4 inches on a straight, so not near a corner, nice in the centre of a straight. Oh, I need bobbin. We knew that, didn't we, at the end of yesterday's? I said I'd need bobbin, but I didn't do anything about it. So I'll just do that. 21 grandchildren. How many my grandma's got, actually? And great-grandchildren, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think my grandma's got 14 grandchildren. But how many great-grandchildren? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I think. No, 14, 15, I think. Right, I've done my bobbin. Okie dokie. Scissors. You'll notice I'm still using the same threads I've been using for everything, just random colours. I don't mind, to be honest, I just use what I've got. Okay, bobbin. Bobbin. Right, here we go. Okay. Yeah, wouldn't that make, have you got a picture of all of them together, all of the grandchildren together? That would be amazing. Right, let's carry on. Okay, so that's one end. And down the other side. Now don't forget, you can always watch this live back. They'll always stay on my page. So on Facebook, if you go to, I think it's the top of the page you're visiting, you can go photos, videos, posts. If you go to videos, all the lives I've done on this page will be there. So you can come back to it at any point. Right, I'm going to leave a gap in this side. So going a good 8 inches in, the back stitch coming off, and then leaving a good 4 inches. Don't make it difficult for yourself. 4 inches, especially if you've got your wadding layers and that in now. I'll be putting foam in, so I will need a good turning area. And then last side, not the most exciting of things so far. Now you can quilt your panels before you put them together. You could do a nice cross design. You could free motion, you could embroider names, you could do applique, there's all sorts that you could do on these pieces. They don't have to just be plain pieces, all sorts. Right, so I've done that. Oh, trim my threads off, take my pins out. Just stab them into my mat. How are we getting on? Oh, you're better now, Lynn. You're sitting up. Fantastic. Oh, I'm thrilled. Well done. Brilliant. Right, so with my foam, what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you've used foam before, but if you get it caught in the seams and you're trying to turn those seams, it's really difficult. And it doesn't leave a nice crisp edge. You'll often have your lining going over, if that makes sense, because of how thick the foam is. There's no give. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to trim it so that it is just shy of the stitch line, and then I'm going to put it on with basting spray. That way my edges, when I turn, are going to be nice and precise, and I'm not dealing with the bulk of the foam. So I'm just going to place this on. I'll measure how much of a seam I did. So it's just over 17.25. So if I get just cut some off, and then I can work it to size. But of course, if you're using wadding, you'll have already popped that in, and you will have encased the wadding in the seams, because that's a lot. If you've got a nice flexible wadding, it's a lot easier to do that. And of course, you'll be doing that with your interfacing. Right, so I'm just trimming this to size. It's a bit smaller than I would have liked. But, you know, we work with what we've got. I'm just trimming this up. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do is adhere it to the lining side. And I'm just going to use my June Taylor basting spray. You can use another basting spray. You know, you could even stitch it on. I'm just going to give that a good spray. And then pop that in and make sure it's not going over my stitch lines. So I want it just to nest inside there. And I haven't really done that very well, but I'm a bit off kilter here, so I'll just trim that. Yes, that was my head on the light again. Right, so that's now on there. So we're going to turn it round, okay? Now, if you want to do a little stitch in either corner, just a tacking stitch, to hold that wadding in on one of the layers, then do, the foam, sorry. Where's my gap? Here. I'll just make that sure that's as pushed down as it can be. I do think I'm going to open up my gap a bit because this foam is quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Quite firm. Not going to be very friendly to turn. I'm just going to open my gap. You will just do a 4-inch gap with your wadding and your interfacing. I'll just trim that out. Like so. Like so. That's a bit better. Right, I'll just pop a bit of this in the corners. And of course you can manipulate this when you've turned it, so don't worry too much about it staying exactly where you want it to be. Now we're going to pop our hands in and we'll go to this corner first, just holding the corner, and then this corner, if I can get my hand in, this corner, and we're just going to pull it through. And of course that wadding's come off, but because we've grabbed hold of the other two corners, it will go exactly where you want it to go. All right? So keep hold of those two corners, and then when you open it out, you can then just manipulate it in. Of course, you could just pop it in after you've opened it out. So just open up those corners, push your finger in or a pokey tool. My finger will do. If you're going to use scissors, just be careful. You don't want to go through your layers. Then just flatten out your foam. It's wriggling away a bit, but get it right in those corners. Flatten it all out. And this corner. Push my corner in. That corner's in fine. Okay, so what we've now got is this. So now we're going to give this a good press. Do you need wadding and interfacing? Yes, I say what you should do is put wadding on one side and interfacing on the other side. Just a nice thin wadding. As I don't have those, I'm just working with foam, which is a bit trickier because it's quite thick. So, just give this a press. I'm just trying to show you really that if what you've got in your stash, you can adapt things, you know, to work. I wouldn't make this with a foam, but that's what I've got. And I wanted to make them little baskets or boxes, so this is what I'm using. Okay, what we're going to do now is top stitch it because we want to close this gap here. So just wriggling that back a bit. You want to make sure if you're using your wadding and interfacing, you're capturing that in. But with this, I want to push my foam away because I haven't caught that foam in any of the other seams. So I don't want to catch it in that one. So I'm just going to pull it 1/4 inch. I might even trim that bit a little just so that I definitely don't catch it, which I'm going to do. Just trying to make it much less bulky. We don't want to Just gives a nice edge. You see, if you haven't caught that foam, it just gives a nice edge. It's like putting on the duvet cover. Yes, it is actually. So I'm just going to pull these sides so they meet. Bit fiddly, but you can use your iron. Tell you what, there's lots of birds about at the moment. Some really noisy ones out here today. I can hear them. I don't know if you can. So I'm just getting that edge nice and flat. Okay, so then we're going to top stitch the whole lot. I'll probably just put a pin in there, just so I'm keeping that together. And here. Make it neat. So this is going to go in Lily's room, so I do want it to be neat. Okay. Oh, I'll just have a slurp of my tea. Right. So stitch all the way around. Now what you're doing now is if you're using foam like I am, you're going to trap that foam now between the layers. So a good 1/2 inch all the way around top stitch, and then everything is joined together. And that's quite a lot of layers, so just go slow and steady. My table is wobbling. Oh, these colours are really quite super. Just make sure that's all lined up. I'm trying to hold on to my table at the same time. That's one. I always put my needle down, lift up and then turn it. It's just a lot easier. How are you all getting on? Yes, it is spring. I think we forget, don't we? I think we forget what's happening in the real world. Right, just getting those seams lined up where I've done my turn. This table is very irritating today. Okay, so that's my first bit. I'm coming up to my first pin. I'll get as close as I can, and then take that pin out. And then keep this nice and straight. Coming up to the next pin. Keeping it nice and straight again. Okay. Third side. I've gone quite far away from 1/2 inch on this side, so I'll just bring it in slightly. Okay. You know, I had a Hermes man come yesterday thinking he was picking up a parcel. Don't know what happened there. Sent him away. Because I do use Royal Mail, so don't know what he was up to. Last side, not the most exciting seeing we stitch around 4 sides constantly, but we're about to make it interesting. So I can feel that I'm trapping that foam, so that's great. Just make weather on Sunday here. It's meant to be 18 degrees. What's that about? There's a little back stitch to finish that off. Right, now here's where it's going to get interesting. Okay, so just get rid of those. Right, so now you've got a lovely square, you know, little blanket, I suppose, if you've used your wadding. So getting your ruler, and you need a pen or something to mark with. What you're going to do is fold your project in half, okay? Fold it in half. Then what you're going to do is you're going to, let me just make sure I'm doing that right so I can, yes. Sometimes you doubt yourself. Going from the corner here, so this is where the fold is, and this is your two flaps. Going from the corner, you want to measure along 3.5 inches and along 3.5 inches and make a line. So what you can do is using your ruler. Oh, what's that nattering out there? Don't know. 3.5 here, 1, 2, 3.5 here. So it wants to be from the very outside edge, not your stitch line. And you're going to place a mark. Who's that nattering out there, I wonder? Then you're going to join those lines together. Okay, now I would recommend using a heat erasable pen. At the minute I haven't got that. Then you're going to repeat that on the other side. Hi Leslie. Oh, it's my neighbour talking, I can hear him now. So place a mark, and then join those two together. Okay. Now I will pin these layers as best I can, just to keep them secure. And then we're going to stitch along this line, and we're going to stitch along this line. Okay, so the two lines we just drew, we're going to stitch. Again, that's a lot of layers, so just go slow and steady. It won't be too bad if you're using wadding, but this is a lot of layers with foam. Just slow. I've got backup needles just in case now. Slow and steady. Okay, one side. So now you've got that. And then repeat that on the other side. I'm actually going to knock the light, so I'll just move that over there for a second. Oh, you're a bit wobbly now. What have I done there then? I've picked you off the floor. There you go. Hopefully I won't hit the light now. Okay. And straight off the edge. Let's bring you back in. Okay. There you go. Right, so you've stitched those two corners. Stitch that corner. Take out your pins. And I'm going to trim my threads. These colours are really lovely. Right, now what you're going to do is you're going to have the folded edge on the base of your table, and you're going to open it out the other way. Okay, so now you've got this. And what you're going to do is join up those two corners and join up the sides and pin. So again, pin, and then repeat that on the other side and pin the layers. Okay, So this is what you've got now. Yeah, and we're going to do the same again for these corners, 3.5 inches. So using our ruler again, we're going to measure 3.5 inches, make a mark, and join those marks together. Repeat that on the other side. 3.5, 3.5, mark, mark. Oh, I've lost the mark on that side. There's that mark. So again, heat erasable pens are good, or if you're not bothered about the pen mark, then just a regular pen. So then we're going to stitch them the same as what we just did for the other two sides. Nice and slow, remember. One of these has got the pin right in the middle of it. Now, which one was it? No, that's okay. Just checking where I put my pins. No, we're okay. So stitch those two corners. Like so. And then we're going to stitch the last corner. And go from the mark down. Nice and slow. All the way down. Okay. Right, so get rid of these threads as per usual. Here I can see a thread here that I haven't got rid of. Right, take out your pins, or you can use quilting clips to hold the sides together. Get rid of these loosey-gooseys. Right, so now what you've got is this, okay? Now this is the lining and this is the outer. So for reference, you're always doing your stitching and your marks on your lining side. That's going to be the side that's facing out. And then we're going to turn it right side round. Okay? So turn that out. And that's what you're going to have so far. All right? So just make sure you've pushed out your bottom points. The good thing about this foam is that it does keep everything, you know, stands proud. So inside now, what you've got is you've got these little flaps here. Now, you can, if you want, stitch them down. I think that's a bit of a waste. So I like to have them out. So now, for each side, we're going to fold it down. Fold it down and pin it. That's one. This one, 2, 3, and this one is 4. You could keep them straight up if you like, but this is what we're going for. So now we're going to top stitch this all the way around the top. Now, in order to keep these, what we want to do is open them out so they resemble like a cone. And you can pin that down. So when you top stitch, you're just catching the top here and you're leaving this open, all right? You don't want to have them folded and catch it because then you've got them at the side. So just open them out. I haven't got any more pins with me, but you can pin them down. Make sure you give these a good press so that they keep, you know, you've got that line as guidance and it just keeps everything nice and neat. You can see what I'm doing. Probably can't, there you go. Yeah, it comes up really nice, doesn't it? Yeah, if you're using foam, you could use your walking foot. You won't need to if you've got a nice thin wadding and interfacing, you shouldn't need to use your walking foot. But with foam, probably a walking foot's a good idea. Right, so now we're going to top stitch all around the top. Oh, he's having a good natter. My neighbour is having a good natter. So I'm just going to start actually in the middle of one of the triangles, because that just helps me then with these edges, and I can prepare each little cone inside. They must have had a shopping delivery, I think. So just nice and slowly. Make sure that cone is opened out. Okay. And I'll come to the next one. I'm just putting my finger inside it and I'm keeping it flat. And that just keeps it out of the way. Carry on, nearly done. Slow and steady, especially with all these layers, just slow and steady. I'm putting my finger in the other cone and just pushing it flat as I go. If you've used wadding and interfacing, you can iron those flat and they'll stay. Whereas with foam, it doesn't want to do much other than be flat. And or if you've stitched it in a curve, that's where it's going to stay. Okay, we're coming up to the area we started. Just stitching and joining those two stitch lines together as best I can. Okay. Where have my scissors gone? Where did I put them? Here they are. So if you're going to put a handle on this, you would do that now, okay? So what you would do is you would have to lift up your flap. So take out your pins. Take out your pin. Take out your pin. Take out your pin. Okay, so this is the finished box. Gorgeous, isn't it? And then when you do your straps, what you're going to do is you're going to put them on the inside. And when you attach them on, you're going to lift up the triangles which they are going against, and you're going to put your flap here and you're going to stitch it here, so that when you put your flap back, the strap is inside but your flaps are still movable. Okay, so make sure when you put if you want to put your strap in, let's give you an example with this piece of foam. If you're putting your strap in, you're opening up that triangle, you're placing your strap, you're stitching it. Now you could probably hand stitch, that would probably be better. And then the other side as well, if I show you on this one, so that when you've got your strap, this triangle is still nice and loose, okay? So that is your box bag. What do you think? Oops, what do you think? So Lily can pop all her little bits and pieces in the corners, and she's also got a lovely bag there that she can put all her Easter eggs in. Oh, I've moved the tripod that you're attached to. I'm just trying to use my foot. There we go. Hello. Yeah, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. A nice different lining colour goes really well. So that's what it looks like on the inside. If you've got if for any reason your wadding's quite thin, then you could put a piece of cardboard in the bottom, just cover it with the fabric of your lining, and then you can just slip it in the bottom and it gives it a really nice secure base. With this one, I'm fine with it because it's that foam. A little bit more difficult to manipulate, but it does give a nice finish. Okay, so that is your box bag. Add on your handle for Easter egg hunting, or pop your toiletries in it, whatever you want to do. Lily's got quite a few bath bombs actually, so she could put her bath bombs in this. Yeah, I must admit I did grab the fabric because Lily is Harry Potter crazed. So as soon as I see something a bit unusual, I get it. So that's the fabric for her. So I think she'll really like that. That will be really nice for her bedroom. So that was a fun little box for you. Upscale if you want, make it smaller if you want. You could just have it for one little egg. That would be quite cute. Just trim, that's going to annoy me, trim that thread. Right, so that's the live today. I'm still working on the PDF for the cushion. I know it's taking a bit longer than I said, but I'm trying to keep... I don't know what we're doing here with the table of that. I'm trying to keep up the lives, even though, excuse me, the PDF isn't quite done yet. So we'll still be doing lives. We'll make something different every day. Yeah, Sam, it's really easy. So just watch on catch up. There's no pressure. Right, I'm off now. I'm going to take the kids for another walk. That seemed to definitely blew away some cobwebs yesterday. They still hated each other by the end of it, but it seemed to just help a bit. Just before lunch, they come in then, they're absolutely starving, and then they sort of settle. But they have been very, very good today, so see what treats I've got in the cupboard for them. I may even let them have a little Easter egg, just because they've been so good. Right, lovely to see you all. Thank you all for joining, and I will see you again same time tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Thanks everyone, bye.